Okay, let's take a look at graphing one cycle of the sine wave. The instructions are one cycle of the given function, state the period of the function. So, I've started off with a very basic unit circle, and we know that this point is 1, 0, and this point is 0, 1, negative 1, 0, 0, negative 1. What we don't have on here are the angles. This could be angle 0, or it could be 2 pi. Or 4 pi, or etc. Lots of different spots. This is typically the pi halves. This is pi, 3 pi halves, and again 2 pi. So those are the angles. Now the unit circle is made up of pairs, cosine theta and sine theta. So we're doing sine theta. The sine theta is the second one here, so I'm going to put these in blue. These are the values that we're going to use to graph the sine wave. So at the angle 0, now notice this says xy, which is our normal xy input output, and here we have x and y, but from the unit circle, the x relates to the angle. So these will be our x values. And our y values are the sine values. 0, 1, 0, negative 1, and 0. Okay. Now, the sine wave has to go all the way around, the values of the sine have to go all the way around the unit circle before they repeat themselves. And so the unit circle being broken up into 4 parts, we're going to be able to look at the graph over those 4 parts. We can start off, let's see, I'm going to label these values again in red. This is pi halves, pi, 3 pi halves, and 2 pi. And then the blue values, 0, I'll have this value up here be 1, and this will be negative 1. So 0, and then to 1, and then back to 0, and then negative 1, and 0. So these are the points that we got off of the unit circle for sine. What's left to do is to remember that the sine wave is going through these points, the points along the baseline, the middle of the graph, pretty vertically. And then they curve through, and then they go through. That was a little too steep. It is not a straight line, kind of a sawtooth wave. It's a sine wave. And that's approximately the graph of the sine. So this, for example, this point right here would be pi halves, 1, which we got from the angle pi halves. The sine value was 1. So the period is simply 2 pi. This is the common period for sine and cosine, and their reciprocals, secant and cosecant. The common period for tangent and cotangent is pi. Of course, we can change the value of the period if we have a coefficient in front of the x in one of these trig functions. So that is one cycle of the given function.